Welcome to the PGSPCA clinic. We're going to do trap treating today. My name is Wendy. I'm a volunteer with the PGSPCA. In PG County, if you've lived here a while, you know that there are a lot of stray cats. They are in every neighborhood, they are at every gas station, every shopping center. It's a real problem. We make the effort to train anybody who is interested in trapping cats, whether it's in their own backyard, if you want to be the person that we call when there's a cat in distress that needs to be trapped, whatever. I'm going to show you all the different kinds of traps that we use, the pluses and minuses of them, so that if you need to borrow a trap, you know how to use it, know what it's best suited for. I'll start with this one. It's a basic trap. This is a have a heart. You can buy these anywhere. This is my first trap. It's super simple to use. I still use it. What happens is you have to lift up, push this back. This opens. There's a little lever on the top that you press down. That lifts this trip plate. With all of these traps, it's the same idea. You would put bait like food back here. The cat goes in, steps on the plate, and closes the door. This one definitely takes two hands. You lift up these rings, lift the door, and then this one you see there's a bar running on the side here and there's a little catch piece. But you pull this lever up, it rests on this piece, and it raises the trip plate. Same effect, the cat goes in, steps on the plate, and it pushes the door down. This one does have a back door that you raise. You can raise it just a little bit to put clean water or paper or whatever. These two traps are essentially the same. They're just, this is a smaller version of this one. Same idea though. You're pushing in on this plate and you're pulling up. There's the rod here. And you can always tell there on these ones, it's coiled. So you see where the hook is, and you just push it in. Again, the plate's gone up. So the different kinds of traps are useful for different things or different situations. This is a pretty standard trap for an adult cat. It's good for cats that don't like small spaces. It's good to keep cats in if you need to keep them for a couple of days, because it usually gives them as much room as you can. When you bait a trap, you want to use newspaper. You just fold the newspaper on the top to fit the width of the trap, slide it in, one sheet, folded. I don't use any more than that because I want it to be light enough. I also don't want it to interfere with the bar that's connected to the plate. So I don't put too much newspaper in there. You can use cut up paper plates, or like those little cardboard like fry container tray things in there if you don't want to put food directly on the newspaper. You can also use pieces of tortilla. I use tortillas when I'm feeding cats outside because you can put the tortilla on the ground, put the food on the tortilla. It's not wasteful, it's not creating trash, because rain will make the flour tortilla just sort of disintegrate. So you're not creating waste with a paper plate. You put food, something yummy. If the first thing you try doesn't work, you can use tuna fish. Rotisserie chicken is always good to attract cats. If they're super, unwilling to go in the trap, you can heat the food. It makes it smell worse, to me worse, stronger to them. You're gonna put a good portion of food in the back, like a good amount, to attract them, because if they walk around the trap, like trying to figure out what the smell is, you want them to see that it's probably worth going in for. And then you put just a few little bites, like to like lure them in. Okay, so a drop trap is handy And these are pretty expensive. So you want to borrow one, probably it's not something you want to keep in your stash. And basically it's just a big square and it unfolds. This door lifts up, put it back down. Now you'll see there are little hooks all around the trap. There's 2 on each side. You want to hook the top, all of them, make sure they are secure. There are 2 extra ones around the door that unfortunately is on the other side, but from you guys, but you want to hook it to the door so that the door cannot raise until you want it to. It's good to have a weight on this back piece right here. It keeps the trap from bouncing up. It's not necessary. I use this trap all the time without a weight on the back. You are going to make sure that the food that you set in this trap is in the back, in the center. You're gonna wait for the cat to go in, get comfortable in that center space eating. He's probably gonna be facing this way. And he's not gonna see you some distance away waiting to pull the string. And when you pull, like that, this is good for multiple things. It is good for the hard to trap cats that won't go into a regular trap. Ones that have already been trapped and have fallen for that trick and are not gonna do it again. It's also good for kittens because you can wait until it's clear. You've gotten all of the litter or most of the litter in and pull the string. This one is really good for kittens because it doesn't take a lot of weight to push this plate down. This one's too heavy. We can't use this one for kittens. It doesn't take a ton of weight for this to trip. So, you know, little tiny, less than a pound or less than 2 pound kittens will trip this. This one is also really good for kittens because you can set kind of how difficult it is to push this plate down. You can put this bar up as high as you want to like raise the plate as high or low, you know, as it can go. So you have some flexibility there. You can put it like right on the edge and doesn't take a lot of effort to pull that down. So this is also good for kittens. If you have a kitten that is teeny tiny, that still probably would not trip this plate, the trick that we use in the trapping field is a bottle and a string. This lets you keep your distance because you want to keep distance from the trap. And when a kitten goes in, you pull the bottle away. So it is the makeshift version of a drop trap. The other thing that's good about this is if you're trying to trap more than one small kitten, gives you flexibility. If one kitten goes in and one's kind of hanging out at the door, you don't want this kitten to trip this plate because this door is going to hurt the one behind it. So if you have multiple kittens, it is good to set up some sort of drop trap system so that you don't inadvertently hurt the one behind it. This door is not so bad. These doors, unfortunately, can do a lot of damage to a cat. They can break, you know, tails. They can significantly hurt their back and necks if they get stuck on here. So that leads to my next point, never leave a trap unattended. You can obviously walk away, you know, to your car. You don't have to have necessarily a visual. You don't ever want to leave a trap and, you know, go to the grocery store or whatever because cats can get stuck. If you're using a small trap and a tomcat, they do it. Sometimes cats don't mind small spaces. Will go into the trap and he won't quite fit, but he'll trip this plate and his tail or his leg or something is stuck in here. So just never leave a trap unattended. Once you hear that door slam, go check it. Trapping is not a science. You have to know the cats, or at least have been observant enough, or been around enough to observe kind of what their situation is. Some cats are almost want to be trapped. They will walk right in the trap when you're standing right in front of it. Some cats like to have a dark space, so you can put the towel over. We use towels. Once the cat goes in the trap, also, you immediately cover the trap with a towel. It keeps them calm. They're not overstimulated by you moving around them, whatever. A dark, quiet space. If the cat seems to be more comfortable in dark spaces, you can put the towel like this over the trap so that the food, it looks like it's in a hidey hole. I usually try to put traps in, especially for hard to catch cats or cats that are shy and skittish. I usually put them along a fence line or against a building, somewhat secluded, shadowy, whatever. Makes it hard to see at night. Cats are most active at dusk and dawn. So those are ideal times to trap, but every cat is different. Again, if it's a cat that you've been feeding on your backyard or in your porch or whatever, you know their pattern, you know when is good to set traps, right? And where to put them where they usually are. If you are a regular feeder, you do want to put the trap in the same location where they're normally used to feeding. Put the trap out for a couple of days and just jimmy the door with a stick or something. Not put the plate up, but just prop the door open. Over the couple of days, just leave it open, put the food near it, eventually in it, so that the cat gets used to it not being a threat. And then when you're ready, you can set it. What you never want to do is get a cat friendly and put it into a carrier and bring it into a clinic. They're friendly to you. That doesn't mean they're going to be friendly to a stranger reaching into a carrier to get them out to anesthetize them. So even if your cat is friendly, we consider it a feral and it needs to come in a trap so that we can use these holes in the side to sedate them before we have to reach our hands in. You don't trap the cat until the night before you can take it to a clinic. We don't want to keep them in these traps for longer than we absolutely have to. You can care for it in this trap. Let's say that this is my trapped cat, and she's made a mess, or he's made a mess in this paper. It smells to high heaven. And you don't want them sitting in their own waste. You can use this back door to literally, like, you're opening it like just a teeny bit to slide that paper out from underneath them and just slide this. Puppy pads also are good at this stage because they're a little sturdier and a little easier to just slide in. Slide in fresh paper. Same with giving them food. Use a flat surface, like a small paper plate or a piece of a paper plate. Open that door just a teensy bit. Slide open and relatch at the top, so they don't have an opportunity to escape. You can do the same thing with the Have a Heart. It's just a little trickier. With this one, you're limited in that you don't have a visual on what the cat's doing. So it's not the greatest, but it's very important to at least try to keep them clean. So you would slide the paper out, and you can slide a food dish in this way. Most cats, if they're truly feral or not, they're gonna stay at the other end anyway. They're gonna move away from you. Some will try to make a break for it. So it's better to have the visual if you can, like, just make sure that they're back there. Keep a towel over them all the time. But when you're changing their paper or giving them food, put the towel only on the back end so that that's their dark space. And this, you rattling around in here and whatever's going on around you is not where they want to be. The same with post-surgical care when they come back from spay and neuter surgery. they need to be kept overnight to make sure that the anesthesia has worn off, to make sure that there are no surgical complications, they're not bleeding.
Thank you for watching our trapping workshop. If you are interested in trapping community cats in your neighborhood, please contact us at pgferalfix@gmail.com for assistance with renting traps and information on spay and neuter clinics.